Welcome. You're listening to How We Healed podcast. I'm Kir Noel, medical intuitive, your host. Our sponsor is themedicinebuddhawithin.com, intuitive training for all. Check out their website and sign up to be invited to upcoming events. Now let's begin our show. So today I'm going to welcome the writer, producer, author, dog mom, family member, extraordinary creator with amazing concepts and productions that we all benefit from in Woodstock. I would call her a true Woodstocker, Martha Frankel, to the How We Heal podcast. What an extraordinary addition to what this community has with this amazing platforms you've created, which I've watched you host the Story Slam for years. And people are so unabashed when they present their work. And you've shared with me a little bit about how that might happen. And just getting to know you for the brief time we've spent, I'm shocked. You're like, you're a magnet to me. I want to get to know you. I want to hear what you do. I want to read what you've written. So welcome.
Thank you so much. She sounds nice, actually, whoever she is. But thank you. It's a very sweet introduction.
Yeah, so we are here to, the question of this podcast is, what have you found in your life that helped you be who you are and bring what you bring?
Well, I've been incredibly lucky, and I've been incredibly lucky. I come from a terrific family. My parents were really in love and very sweet. My dad died when I was 14, 15, and it just sort of blew a hole in me. And I spent many years trying to fill that hole with the things you fill holes with if you live through the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s like I did. And but I have like a real basis of family. I met my husband, Steve Heller, in 1974. He is a woodworker and a sculptor and an artist. He owns Fabulous Furniture out in Boyceville, and we've worked together there for 50 years. And his parents were also incredibly sweet and funny. Like the first time I met them, I was like, oh yeah, I know these people. They're just good, wonderful family people. And they adored him. And whatever he would tell them, I'm going to do this. And they were like, that sounds great. They really promoted both of us. We bought this house in 1983. First of all, we started looking for a house. We looked for like 2 or 3 years. We had a difference of opinion of where that house should be. We both had the same idea of what the house would be, but where he wanted to live on the top of the mountain, I wanted to live on the bottom. And so we looked for a long time, and we found this house we really liked, and we brought his parents over to look at it. And we had been there 4 times. And his mother walked in. She was like 5 foot tall. And she walked in, and she looked around. She goes, "Where's the refrigerator?" And we were like, "Yeah, where is the refrigerator?" Like we had been in that kitchen 4 times and had never noticed that there was no. And they were like, "Oh, there's not enough electric in the kitchen. It's out someplace else." And so we were like, "Okay, we need help looking for a house."
Some common sense came.
Really, when she said, "Where's the fridge?" we were like, "What does she mean?" Anyway, we found this house. Steve always says it looked like a liquor. Like a beer distributor in the middle of the woods. It was like a concrete block house. It was all overgrown. It was like a horrible color. Had nothing like. We looked at it the first time in April. It didn't have one plant growing, and we walked in, and there's all these little rooms, painted wood paneling. It was dark and weird. And Steve walked in and said, "Oh, there's no bearing walls. We could knock everything down and make one huge room." And I knew right then that like he had the vision for what it is. And so we bought it thinking it was our starter house. It's a ranch house. All of our friends thought we were nuts. They were like, "You're buying a ranch house?" And now that we're old, they were all like, "Oh, you live in a ranch house." So we were ahead of our time. But, I've been here a long time. I moved to Woodstock the first time in 1971, worked at the Joyous Lake, which was like a really hot club. I was the cashier, left for a year or 2, came back, went to work at the lake again, met Steve on a disco night, moved in the next day. and have been together ever since 1974.
So it's a magical Woodstock event. I mean,
Yeah.
to find a house like that. I mean, people coming up to Woodstock now looking for what we call a wreck, something without a refrigerator.
No,
And,
this one
you know,
had the refrigerator in the kitchen. But this house, anyway, the night we moved in, Steve took a sledgehammer and knocked down like a really major wall between the kitchen and the living room. And for years, we lived with like BX cable hanging down. And
do it yourself.
yeah, but we were good. You know what I mean? Like we've always had at least one, normally two dogs, and we like big dogs. We had Dobermans and big, like 90-pound dogs, and so it was always us and the dogs. And you know, he had a great set of parents. I have a good family, and that was sort of, you know, we didn't have kids on purpose. And we were like, okay, we're both artists. I'm a writer. He's a sculptor. We didn't have insurance for, you know, never had insurance at the same time. Never had health insurance at the same time. When I turned 30, I was like, I think I got to get insurance this year. Like, women have problems in their 30s. And like 10 years later, I said, you better get insurance for a year. And then Obamacare came, and we were like, we both have insurance. That was incredible.
Shocking.
And I was the first female firefighter in Ulster County. You know, I've been involved in my town for a long, long, long time. I know my neighbors. I know their kids. I know their grandkids. I'm, you know, very outspoken about the things I'm outspoken about. It's no secret where my heart lies.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that has to alienate me from my neighbor, who was, you know, whatever, the postmistress for 30 years. And we might not agree about politics, but we agree about many, many, many things.
Yeah, that's a human connection you
Yeah.
made, and with everyone around you. And I think your events draw like same thing, human connection.
Yeah. And so I got lucky in the mid-'80s. I met a woman on vacation who then was the fashion editor of the Soho News, Annie Flanders, and she started a downtown magazine called Details. And it was such a magical magazine. It would come every month, and Steve and I would devour it. It had nothing to do with our lives. Nothing.
Nothing in
It was
Woodstock
about
like
the
it.
downtown New York scene. You know, I'd never been to any of these places. And then she said, you should come write for me. You're funny. And I did. And I started writing about plastic surgery and books at a time when both of those things were very hot. And so I got hot. And
So talk about that. I mean, you got deluged by attention. You
Yeah.
were like the new amazing writer on the scene.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds silly, but it's true. My first piece was about some plastic surgery I had done. And Steven Sabin, who was one of the editors at the magazine, named the column Knife Styles of the Rich and Famous. And so, like, that alone was like, but the piece got picked up by 4,000 papers around the world.
Unbelievable.
And so that was heady. Like, I was getting my tires changed in Kerhonkson, and Steve called and said, hey, I think you're in the Daily News. And I was like, I am. And then somebody else called and said, no, you're in the Post. Like, it just went wild. And then I started doing this book column called Bookem, and
That's a catchy phrase.
yeah,
I
and
like it.
the publishing industry was dying for ideas. Like, when I first started in the mid-'80s, they published 40,000 books a year. Now they publish 750,000 or more. Like, it's a whole new world. But when I first started, so agents and directors were like looking for ideas from me. I didn't have them. I'll be very honest.
You didn't have them.
I didn't have them, but it was nice. It was very heady, and I started going into New York and going to the clubs with all the rest of the Details writers, and felt completely uncomfortable and weird.
Out of your element, for sure.
Out of my element. I wasn't exactly sure what my element was, but this was not it. But I liked it, and I drank a lot, did a lot of drugs.
You gave the scene your all.
Yeah, I did. I was really good at it.
And if anyone's listening and you know Details Magazine, we know how old you are.
Oh, yeah. Although I have to say, kids love that magazine. Like young hipsters all know about it because, she was the first person to ever put up Willie Smith's clothes or Patrick Kelly Annie was amazing. And so she became my mentor. I stayed with Details for 5 years, and then they got rid of her, and she was like, you got to go to L.A., and you have to go out there and meet every editor in town. I never would have done that. I was like...
So take us to, you're in your
late 20s.
Oh, you're a kid. You're a very incredible lifestyle with young.
She said,
Amazing.
Go to L.A., I'll pay for you to go for your last trip for Details, but you need to find out the name of the editor, every editor in L.A. And I'm really not that good. Like now I'm good at it, but I did it. And I met the woman who was the editor of American Film and the editor of Movie Line, the editor of Premiere. And I just went to them and pitched ideas. And the first one that they bought was this is how out of step I really am, was an article about cooties, about who gets cooties and who doesn't. Like how...
That's your article. You wrote that.
Yeah, I wrote
okay.
that. But I pitched it, and I was like, like Faye Dunaway got cooties by playing Joan Crawford, but like Woody Allen will never get cooties, said I. And I wrote a big piece, got paid a lot of money for it. It came out on a Monday, and on Wednesday, Mia Farrow found the pictures of Suni and Woody, and like the whole world went crazy. Like almost all the things I said in that article are not true.
So we don't come to you for psychic advice.
No, exactly. Psycho advice. So, but it was very heady. I was good at the book column and at the plastic surgery column, but I excelled in the celebrity interviews. So I'm comfortable around. I don't know. Like I'm good on a movie set. I know how to be quiet. I was good. I do research like nobody else. I'm really good at it. Also, my husband's a woodworker and a sculptor. He works like a dog. I would sit home and watch Susan Sarandon movies. That was my job. So it seemed like a joke, really. It's like, really, sometimes I would spend 5 days and watch 30 movies. That was my job.
So you were preparing for an interview.
Yeah. And
you
that was
really
my job.
prepared.
Yeah. And so the people were comfortable around me because I knew their work and I had read everything. And it was before the internet, and you had to go to the Academy Library in L.A. and slip them a piece of paper that said, Jeff Bridges, and then they would bring you a pair of white gloves and a ton of interviews, and you would sit and read them. Like there was no internet.
Is this before now there's an Academy Museum in L.A.?
Yeah.
This is way before that.
Oh, yeah. This is way before everything. So when the internet started, things changed. But for like 10 years, I had this insane job, and it paid a lot of money. And I did cover stories for big magazines, Cosmo and Redbook, and it was just really fun. And I wrote for Details, and I wrote for Movie Line and American Film, and got to like outrun the paparazzi with Sean Penn and go dancing with Chris Walken, and it's like crazy stuff. I took Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks to a psychic to find out who killed the girl who got killed on Twin Peaks. I thought it was like such a clever idea. We went to like a Sunset Strip psychic, and within 20 minutes, Sherilyn Fenn was like giving this woman money, and the woman was lighting candles. I was like, no, this is not the way I picture this going. Anyway, it was a very heady time. It was a lot of fun, and there was always like this thing of like I knew it was going to run out. Like it was clear that this was a path that had an end.
Okay, like the internet global excitement,
Well,
startups.
then the internet started,
right.
And it made my job so much easier. Like I could look stuff up.
Right, you have to go to the library.
And I didn't have to go to the Academy Library in L.A. Like it wasn't like I could go to the Olive Library, which I did all the time. But so the internet came, and a funny thing happened, which was Steve built a car that was kind of a very forward. He took like a new car, a Lincoln, and made it look like a 57 Edsel. Because we had a 59 Caddy and it was dangerous. And so he was like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if we had a new car that looked like an old car? And so he did this. And then he called me. I was in Miami. And he said the New York Times is doing a Collectible Car of the Year award, but we have to enter it tonight. And I was like, okay, you have to do it because you have the pictures of the car. And we spent 7 hours with me saying, no, upper left, because he's sort of dyslexic and it's not really agile with the computer. I was like, you have to drag that in there. It was one of the worst nights of our lives. But he entered, and they called to say that he was one of the 30 entrants that were going to be judged.
Wow.
Okay? This was in 2005, I think.
Well, his cars are on the road on 28.
Yeah, they are.
And they are incredible.
But this car, so he's one of 30 entrants, so he's 3% of the field. And they called and told me that he got in. I was so excited for him. And I said, how does it work? And they said, well, there's a link and you tell people to vote, and they vote every day for a month. And I had spent all this time like building up this internet presence because of my work. And so I was like, well, let's see what we could do. And so every day I went on the internet and said, hey, do me a favor, vote for my husband, who got over 40% of the vote.
Whoa.
And won this thing.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
It is.
Because he was 3% of the field. He got 40% of the vote. So that was kind of wild. And that was, that proved to me that the internet, that social media was a good thing.
Yes. That was a great use of it.
Yeah, it was great. And he sold the car. The piece came out in the Times on a Tuesday and sold the car on a Wednesday. And to a really wonderful man who then said, sure, come out to L.A. and enter it in the big L.A. show. And sure, come to San Diego. And so it had like a life. But before that, I met a guy who was producing a show in L.A. with Sean Penn. And he and I got friendly. His name is Randy Finch. He was one of the producers of Mississippi Burning. And he said, let's write a script together. And this is so crazy. He showed me this French movie about these two guys who pull a scam. And we were like, what if it was women? What if it was two women? And what if the scam had to do with poker? And I was like, oh, yeah, I know how to play a little bit of poker. Let me find out. And so I taught myself to play poker and started playing poker. And I was really, really good at it. And I sort of forgot about the screenplay, forgot about everything, because I am an addict from the deepest part of me. And this was perfect.
So wait, before you move from there, when you say you're an addict, and I also am an addict, but how do you see that now in yourself as a part of you? Let's give it a definition, because I'll give mine too.
Well, I was always doing something, or two things, or three things, and I just had this hole in my heart, and I didn't, therapy didn't fill it, and drugs and alcohol and men didn't fill it. I just had this hole in me. And so the poker was it was a big filler for a while, and did that, and things started to get hairier. And during that time, I started, I forgot about the screenplay. This poor guy, my partner, was like, where's the screenplay? I was like, I am going to the World Series of Poker. I just was so self-involved.
You found something,
yeah,
yes.
I did. But then I started playing internet poker, and I lost more money than our house was worth. And nobody knew. And
ouch.
Yeah. And so, all of this was going on for many years, lots of bad stuff. And about 12 years ago, I just reached the end of my line. And a friend was like, you need help. And I was like, well, I don't think so. But I knew I did. I knew I needed help. I just didn't know what help looked like. I didn't know that there could be help. And so I stopped drinking and drugging and doing I stopped lying. I stopped, I had a lot of money stuff that I needed to unknot. and got very lucky. I met a very smart man who said, here's what you have to do, and here's how you have to do it. And I was like, really? People get up every day and look at their money? Like, I had no idea. I just didn't. And I ran our business because Steve's worse than me with money. So I became the money person. But clearly that was not a good setup.
Well, without the tools, you didn't have the set of instructions.
I do now. I mean, this guy changed my life. I bless him every day. He just said, you got to get up every morning and look at your money. You have to know how much money you have, whether you have a lot or a little. You need to know it. And, when I say that to people, I could tell right away who's in trouble with money. Because people who are, I try with my family a lot to say, you need to know. Even let's look. And they're like, oh, no, we can't look.
Yeah.
So that the money stuff was like a big part of the knot, and drugs and alcohol. And so it's been a long time. It's been, over a decade. And I just learned really good tools for all of it.
You don't just learn them, you use them.
Yeah.
You're using them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not on your own totally. So for me, the drugs, alcohol, the crazy behaviors came out of everyone I know is going to abandon me completely at some point. So in order to make sure you like me, I will do anything you want to make you like me, and I will be so loud and big that you can't ignore me and leave. Of course, created.
How'd that work?
3 marriages later, not too well.
I know.
I'm sober a long time, but the marital
the behavior,
because you draw in that darkness no matter who you are, and you bring it close. You live with it because there is a part of us that wants to just stop. That wants to just I am worthy. But that's an intellectual concept. It's not a heart,
Yeah.
So, I think we are creators. We are people who bring something unique to the world. And it's very hard to be that vulnerable like you are in our work. And doing that requires a lot of courage. So being someone who acts out around that, need doesn't blend well with I'm in the world fully me, proud for who I am, and courageous.
I know.
They don't go together. At some point, that's just a poof. It goes away. It blew up for me a long time ago. And thank goodness it's stuck that I realized what was going on.
Well, I started the Bookfest before I got sober, but it was sort of a mess. But I run the Woodstock Bookfest, and it's like a once-a-year 4-day event, and we bring in authors, and we have readings and panels, and then I do the story slams all year and do some producing. But I wasn't sober when I started it, and it was just another mess. You know what I mean? It was just like when I started looking at it all, I was like, should I give this up? Should I just walk away from this? And it wasn't even me. It just sort of had a life. Like the next year people were saying, okay, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I guess I'm doing something, I guess I'll put on the play. And I'm just so glad because it's just a wonderful thing to look forward to every year for me.
I love your book. I love it. I love what you do. And I would never have known. I mean, when you were sharing earlier about Details Magazine and we talked for a little bit, what I feel from you is there's no veneer. There's no she doesn't gloss herself up. She's not like, oh, I'll look nice and sound good now. I sound like me all the time. And I've Martha, we've come to realize especially in being sober, that all of me, including that part that I had struggle with, is so beautiful and perfect the way it is. Just bring it all.
I really can't pretend. When video came in, first of all, when I started doing interviews and I would hear myself, I'd be like, oh, I got to change that. I got to change that voice. I just was like, oh my God. And I had this woman who did my transcriptions because I did like 2 interviews a week. And she got tired of me, as one would, and she would it would say Martha Frankel, blah, 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 Sean Penn, and she'd have every word he said, Martha Frankel, blah, blah, blah. She just couldn't listen to me anymore. But then when video came in, I was like, oh, I got to change everything about this. I got to stop doing this with my hands. But I have a lot of friends who are actors. They were like, don't even try because then you'll start twitching. Like, it doesn't work.
If you try, it gets worse.
Yeah, it gets
it's
worse.
True.
So no, I'm definitely who I am. There's no pretending.
That's who you are.
And I feel, I don't know, like the last 5 or 6 years, COVID was one of the best things that ever happened to me personally. I know, I hear it, I understand. I'm just saying personally, to turn it off. I'm out all the time. And I was before COVID. We were out 6 nights a week. And then all of a sudden, it was over. It was just the two of us for a year. We didn't see anyone. And it was great.
Well,
I loved it.
Yeah, I spent time. My daughter was living with me. College was over, and she was hating on me because she hated that it was over, and she didn't want to live with me, her mother. And we got to know each other, and we got to say, yeah, we don't like each other very much at times. And I got to say, get a life. And she did.
Yeah.
She did.
No, I just loved it. It was great. I had a friend who has a food business, and he was like, here's how you order food through me. So we were eating like crazy, and it was just fun. It was just like nobody else. It was just us, and our dog died. We got another dog, then we got another dog. I mean, it was just like one of the best times of my life. And I said throughout the whole thing, I was like, when this is over, I'm staying here. I'm going to be in this place. But now I'm out 6 nights a week again.
Oh, it's back. The loud out in the world experience. Yeah.
Yes, except I'm not. I didn't know how uncomfortable I was until COVID. I thought it was just I would drink at parties and stuff, and then I stopped drinking at parties, and I was just weird and uncomfortable. But during COVID, I realized that those two things were the same thing, that I drank to cover that up, and that it's still there. It's in me. And I've had some of the most incredible panic attacks ever in the last 10 years. I mean,
wow.
I have really had attacks that made me go to my knees. But I know they're going to end. I really understand that now. When I first got sober, somebody said, enjoy it because it's going to change. And then when I was depressed and weird, they were like, don't worry, it's going to change. And that was a great thing for me to learn, that nothing is permanent. And so COVID wasn't permanent. And what I thought would change afterwards hasn't. But I'm so much more comfortable now. I'm not in a panic all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not
powerful.
getting up in a panic every day. I feel I have a core group of girlfriends who I rely on, for my sanity. When people say, oh, you and Steve and I have been together a long, long time, and they're like, oh, he's your best friend. I'm like, no, he's not. No way. That's not what I want. I don't want him to be my best friend. I mean, just the other day, he said, did I ever tell you this? And I started laughing because I knew the answer was no. I was going to tell me something I had never heard before, because he's just full of, he's just full of stuff, and I love it. But he's not my best friend. I have best friends, and
he's your partner.
Yeah,
Life partner, person.
Yeah, he's my person, but he's not my best friend. And I feel comfortable in myself. I love my friends' kids, and I love their little grandkids. I didn't have kids on purpose. And I will say this, I get up every day and say, thank God. I'm not saying nobody should. I like your kids, but
you can say it.
Yeah. No, I don't feel that way because I love my friends' kids, but was not for us. I mean, I don't know what we would have done. One of us would have had to give up our dream. There's no way we could have done this with a kid.
There's a lack of dream time that I've personally experienced raising 2 kids. And turn the valve down on Kir and let's turn the volume up on running around and being a mom.
How about being both of us being artists and not, not knowing where the next dime was coming from? That wouldn't have happened if we had kids.
No, not at all.
And so it was a big deal when, I had my tubes tied when I was really young. I finally found a doctor my doctor was like, I'm not doing this. This is not a good idea. And I was like, I kept hocking him. And then he called one day and said, I'm retiring. Come in, I'll do it before I retire. I was 27.
Wow,
It was
that's interesting.
And he kept saying, what if you change your mind? I said, what if I have a kid and change my mind? Like, how come they never ask women that question?
Right, they never do.
And so
Never.
he did it, and it was, I've never looked back. But it was a big deal when I did it.
No, that's a huge commitment and decision. Not just, well, we won't ever get close to getting pregnant. But you made a decision, and you did it. Very brave, very solid.
Yeah,
Wow.
so, I don't know. We've been very lucky. We have met people who have changed our lives, like in the craziest ways. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
met a friend who had just bought a hotel in Puerto Rico, and that's where I met Annie Flanders, and we went there for years and helped him at the hotel, and just like wandered in there because Steve's shop burned down, and we needed a place to go. Like, we've just been lucky.
So you've been in the flow of your own experience.
Yeah.
What's coming to you is coming to you. That's how I see life.
Yeah,
And
we've had fire and a flood. We lost a bridge to our house in Hurricane Irene. I mean, but even that, like, I think of that as sort of like incredible things happen because of that.
I think there's a lot of change in direction in our lives as we live it. And sometimes I've felt like it was a slap against the head. Like, wake
Right.
up, Kir. Wake the fuck up. I'm going to teach you.
Yeah.
Even the hard stuff, COVID, absolutely changed my life for the better. Having that time without being out in the world. Because I am like you. I'm like, okay, tonight is this. Tonight is that. Tonight is it. Let's just
Yeah,
go.
and we have a lot of young friends. They're really spontaneous. So I'll be home cooking, and they call and say, we're going out to dinner. I'm like, we're going out with you. I'm like, I'll put the food away.
Put it away tomorrow, lunch.
Tomorrow's good. Yeah, so there's been a lot of that. And I don't know, like, I'm surprised that we're as busy as we are. But I think it's, it's summertime, and maybe that's part of it, or I don't know.
No, I think it's who you are in the world. It's who you are. It's not, I think you're someone who brings a whole picture, the person. Yes,
I'm exhausted
you're
from
exhausted
me.
from yourself.
Really.
So is there anything going on in the world? Are you like having anything you look at today and say, well, this is going to break my heart. I'm going to turn that off.
I don't watch I mean, I'm not saying I don't know what's going on in the news. I read it, but we didn't have a TV for 40 years. So we didn't get used to watching the news and watching late night. Like, truly, when David Letterman retired,
You were done?
Well, we had never seen him.
Oh, you didn't see him?
No, we watched his last show. We were like, oh, this probably was good. Like, we really didn't watch TV for 40 years. So, but then I needed it for my job. So we got like a DVD player and a screen. And then 10 years ago, we got a TV. So there's a lot I don't know. There's, I'm tuned in enough to know, but stuff happens every day that's really surprising to me. People text me and say, what do you think about this? And I say, that's going on? I had no idea. So, am I going to let this break my heart? Absolutely not. Like, this is going to change.
Yes, that constant, you talked about change, always changing, it happens.
And I don't think it's
totally
a pendulum anymore. I think it's like a gyro. Like, it's going to come around and like whack some people right off the planet. So my mother had a great attitude. Like, my mother went blind, and she lived with my sister. And on September 11th, like, once we knew what was going on, I called my sister, and I was like, is Meg, my mother had a woman who came in every day. I said, is Meg going to be there? And she said, yeah, I'm going to go home. My sister lived in D.C., in Baltimore. And then when the Pentagon got hit, like, everything went haywire. And so I called my mother, wasn't sure if she knew what was going on. And I go, hey, and she goes, is this Kay Gardner? And she like is holding the phone up to the TV. And I'm like, the world is going on. And I go, I don't know. She goes, I am positive it's Kay Gardner, but Meg isn't here yet. I'll call you back. And I called my sister. I said, she doesn't know. And so she didn't know for 2 hours. She was home alone watching the movie, and Meg didn't show up. And finally, my sister got home and told her. And, we were all hysterical. Both my niece and my nephew's wife were pregnant. And so I called my mother, and I was like, how are they going to do this? Like, what? They're pregnant. The world is going crazy. And she like lit her Kent and said, we saw Hitler and couldn't wait to have babies. And it was like,
life keeps going.
It was an amazing thing to say to me. It just like stopped me. And she just had a great worldview, always. even, a lot of stuff happened to her. My dad died when she was 49, and her parents and her brother died the same year. So she lost like her whole family. And my sister got married, so she was stuck with me. And I was horrible. And she still had the same sort of worldview. And so, I don't know, I'm not that freaked out. It's clear that I don't like what's going on right now, but I feel like it's going to be over. And I keep a very positive attitude.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
I feel very blessed and very happy and very lucky and very, I understand my privilege, very aware of it. Nobody has to point it out, but if you want to, I'll, that's okay too. Yeah, whatever. People like to tell me how privileged I am, so I just listen.
Lovely.
Yeah. My husband has a card at his store. It says, "You know what you should do?" And when you turn it over, it says, "Go fuck yourself," because people like to come in and say to him, "Oh, you know what you should do?" And like he's got a lifetime. To know. He's got a lifetime of work surrounding him. Anyway, I feel that way, but I'm more polite than he is.
You certainly are.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been writing, and I have things I want to do. I produced a play last summer. A woman approached me, Amy Oppenheimer. She's a judge and a lawyer and a judge, and has an incredible story, and said, "I've been workshopping this play, and I've been performing."
What kind of judge is Amy?
She's a federal judge.
Federal, okay.
And she has an amazing story, and she'd been, it had been directed. She'd performed it like 6 or 7 times. She wanted to do it. We presented it in Phoenicia. It was the first thing I did like that. I think I want to do it again. She was so good, and the play was so moving, and I don't know. So I have something happened at the last Story Slam that made me realize that I should get 7 people to tell 10-minute stories, like not read, sort of performed.
Tell me 7. Where'd the 7 come from?
Because 70 minutes a good,
it's a good concept for show.
An hour.
It's a good show time.
Yeah. And so I reached out to like the 7 women I would like to do this with. And so I'm going to start this fall, maybe pulling it together. Maybe we'll put it on next summer.
Oh, fabulous. I'll be there. If there's an open invite where people can buy a ticket.
Yeah. So, you can always get in touch with me through woodstockbookfest.com. I think my emails. I mean, I know
it's your email. Too.
Yeah.
It's people can find you.
Yeah, and I want them to. People write me. I mean, I get the craziest emails. It's just fascinating. Like, I have a friend who just moved to Minneapolis. Did you know that the Kansas City Chiefs play in Missouri?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Because I was born in Missouri.
Oh.
And that's why I know the tidbit,
okay.
that tidbit. Yeah.
Because she laughs at me because she's from Iowa, and I really don't know anything. Like, I'm such a New Yorker. Like, it's New York, L.A. in the middle. But she moved to Minneapolis like 10 years ago and then came back. But the first time, every single time I said where she went, I was like, Kitty moved to Minneapolis, Minnesota. I just couldn't get it. Anyway, she moved, and so she's not here. You don't have like that, instant thing. So I send her all the crazy emails I get, and I think she thinks it's a joke. Like, people just write and tell me the craziest stories, but I like that people can still get in touch with me.
I like that.
So you asked me what I'm doing to like keep my sanity. I think that's what you meant by how.
Yes, that's a good interpretation.
I'm off social media a lot.
Okay.
Good
idea.
I set an alarm in the morning for 15 minutes, and I read it, and then I'm done.
Yeah, that's all there is. You get it in a big clip now. You can clip it together in like a big, massive download, and I'm done usually.
People tell me, I have a friend in Woodstock who sends me like 5 headlines a day. There's so much going on in like the little town of Woodstock right now that's so cuckoo that I sometimes think she's just kidding, like, okay. But I get it that way. People will write and tell me what's going on. But I was riding along today. I listen to a lot of books now. Had an eye problem that's getting better, but it sort of made me start listening to audiobooks. And that's been life-changing. to just drive along and be in somebody else's world. That's what I need. I need
stories.
I need to
stories.
listen to stories, and then sometimes I just turn it off and daydream for an hour. I like to drive. I'm in the car a lot, and just like think of my story. There's a piece that I want to write. It's sort of porno. I've been working on it a long time. I think I'm going to actually do something with it. I don't want to wait 2 years to get it published. I want to serialize it somehow.
Maybe on a some platform that's called a magazine, but it's internet based.
Yeah.
Something you could write anywhere. You're a writer and you're a magazine writer. So
So that.
And they exist.
Yeah, and I'm writing for
still
the
there.
Mountains magazine. I love that magazine. I do the last page, and it's sort of I've done a lot of covers, but this is the first time that I ever wrote the last page. And the editor said something really nice. I said, what's the plan here? Like, tell me what. And he goes, you're the last thing they see. You have to leave them with a good taste in their mouth.
Oh, well, that's a good point to make.
It was like beautiful. I mean, even though last month's column was about storms and fires and like what to do if like things get bad, like what to grab if the
Did
world...
it get hopeful at the end of your column?
It did, but the photo that ran with it was our road getting completely wiped out during Hurricane Irene. But like I've always had that just in case attitude. Like when I walk in a place, I'm looking to figure out how to get out of there if there's
An event. Do you tell us about the Woodstock Bookfest?
Yeah, I run it. We usually do the last weekend in March or the first weekend in April. We do 4 nights, and it's just starts with a story slam. This year we filled the Woodstock Playhouse on a Thursday night. It was wild, really sold out.
That's a big turnout. Yeah,
it was huge. It was like a cold, weird night. So that was cool. And then we do, we had Griffin Dunn this year. We had a panel about permission, about who gets to tell the story, I hear this endlessly. I taught writing for a long time, and everybody's always like, oh, I can't tell that story. My mother, sister, brother, uncle will be pissed off. And actually, that's not true. If it's your story, it's your story.
It's your site on this. You heard it. You had a witnessing. You could go for it. Yeah.
And so we did a panel about permission that was really wonderful. I run the memoir panel, which is the last panel of the weekend. And we just get great writers. And so we're going to do it, I think, either the last weekend in March or the first weekend in April. I don't have my calendar. But
yeah, you do get great writers.
Yeah.
Well, Woodstock is a draw for incredible creative people.
I know.
From all over the world.
I mean, it's really weird when you tell somebody you live near or in Woodstock in Belgium. They're like, I love Woodstock.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, you've been? No.
I want to go. I always hear, I want to go.
I know.
And you have a memoir, don't you?
I do.
Hats and eyeglasses.
So I wrote the story about the poker story. I finally came clean about it and wrote it. And it was published by Penguin. It's still available. And it's called Hats and Eyeglasses, which was one of my uncle's expressions for what happens when a ship goes down. All that floats is hats and eyeglasses.
Wow.
And it was about when things are going bad at the poker table. So
that's a great metaphor for the bad poker night.
I know. And so, I was brought up around a lot of gambling. My mother played mahjong, my father played poker. There was always that thing, men smoking cigars. I love it. When I met Steve, he doesn't know anything about sports, but I'm steeped in sports. I mean, I don't anymore, but I used to watch baseball, football, basketball. I always, that's one of the things that's happened to me. I don't know what season it is because I don't know who's playing. I just realized the other night, did football start already? It's still baseball? I don't know because I don't watch anymore. I don't
let
follow.
Go. You totally let go. Well, yeah,
did.
it's like me going to a bar, alone when I'm feeling terrible.
Oh, no, this took me way... No, I let go about 4 years ago.
That you mean watching the games,
right,
knowing who's playing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, it's fascinating. If
so
you
when
really
we didn't
know.
have a TV, I listen to 162 baseball
games,
a year. And if my radio wasn't working good, I would like turn the radio on in my car really loud while I was cooking so I could hear what the Yankees were doing.
Well, you
now I don't.
You were honing your craft.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that.
You were honing it. So we have a lot of we relate on, and when you're somebody, I don't even want to talk about what you look like because I'm afraid people will come up to you in mass in Woodstock.
In mass,
I'm like,
all four of them.
Where did you do that? Where's that workshop? And well, who was the person that talked to you 12 years ago? You've got so much to give, and you do give it. And what is next for you? I know you're talking about this play.
Yeah, and the play. I'm going to work on that porno story. I mean, I know when I say that people get weird, but it really is pornography. It's funny and it's meant to titillate. So isn't that what pornography is?
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks. I don't know. Like I just bought an iron and
an iron.
Mm-hmm, an iron and a mini iron board, and like I've been ironing napkins in the morning.
Is that like a Zen practice for
I
you?
I feel like it is.
Very relaxing.
People are always saying you should meditate, and I can't.
That's not your thing.
I can't turn it.
You won't be joining me tonight at the monastery.
No. It's
Thursday night.
I know.
I am there doing a practice.
I've been there. I did go.
If I were ever in the mood, I go every Thursday.
No, I started ironing napkins, and I find it really like a practice, like a really good practice for me, because it really is just meditation. It's just
it is a form of meditation.
And flatten and fold and so I've been doing that, and I've been wanting this ironing board for 40 years, and I was just like, I think I'll go out and buy the $11 ironing
It's the
board.
one that sits on the tabletop?
Yeah.
That's the one. I don't have that either.
And
I have the big, clunky...
No, this is great. It's set up. It's permanently set up, and I just like every day I iron a few napkins, and I think things out in a way that I never have been able to, like just very quietly, very much by myself. And, I have this little dog now. So I'm that person that I never thought I would be, but I am. Like I was walking here, I parked. Are there meters on Wall Street? Like, am I getting a ticket while we're chatting?
Well, from now on, you go to Ulster Bank next door.
I know how.
You're
but
my
I
best
didn't.
friend, and you can park there.
No, I have an account there. I could park there.
Yeah.
But no, instead I parked on Wall Street and didn't put money in the meter. Okay. That's okay.
I apologize.
Anyway,
if it happens,
when I was walking here, there was a woman walking her little dog in a stroller, which I swear to God I'm never doing. But this is what I said: "Hi, Poopy," and then I said, "Oh my God, I have become that person." So that's I iron, I play with my dog, I take walks. I feel more connected to the earth than I ever did. I feel more in my body. I feel like whatever has happened in the last decade has finally caught up to me. Do you know what I mean?
But
I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of work.
Settled, yeah.
It's not like it happened. I worked. I did the work. But I feel like I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is good.
Yeah. It sounds like you like waking up. You like waking up?
Yeah, I used to fight it a lot, but
I love waking up. I'm like, this is the best moment in my day. It really is amazing. I wake up, my black cat, adopted during COVID. He's my familiar, to quote, and he and I are bonded. He doesn't nip me, and he loves me. He's the perfect man in my life, and don't want any other. And I just live in bliss with my partner and the visits from my daughter currently, who just loves the house and explodes into it. And I let her, and we go, it's great. Just come and do whatever.
It's nice.
Yeah,
that
it's
5
so
years
nice.
ago you weren't comfortable, or is it the same daughter?
It's the same daughter, and she has come to appreciate me, and I have come to respect her individuality and her adulthood. And we are in a really good place.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it's a transition. So the pieces that you shared today are, thank you for asking about her, are just really genuinely heartfelt. Again, no makeup on it, none. Thank goodness I don't come to meetings with makeup. I don't want to sit around the makeup. I'm not, I have the lipstick lesbian friends, and I marvel at it. I'm like, you waste your time doing that?
My best friend is like a makeup maven. Really, one of my best friends. And she's just the best. Like, she says things like, it really doesn't work if you don't have eyebrows. I'm like, all right, show me how to do that. Like,
that's okay.
Yeah.
Focus the attention on my
I know, but
eyes.
she'll just say it to me out of the blue. Like, I think I think I look so cute. She's like, doesn't work if you don't have eyebrows. I'm like, all right, I'll put them on.
So we at occasion, my daughter, who's a professional actor, will like, no, you can't wear it. You have to do this, and she'll take me in her bathroom and like, but generally no, and not needing to. I'm okay. I recently posted something because I'm trying to promote everyone who's listening. Please follow this podcast. It's hard to say it. Like, subscribe, and follow. That's the language. So we get an audience that talks about healing, how we help each other find our inner personal message, bring it full force, no gloss, no fake front, deal with it. Not about politics or religion or money or where you live. This is just about being a person, and how magnificent to meet a person like you today and share with us.
I'm so glad I got to meet you. I'm so glad you reached out.
Thank you very much, Martha.
Thank you.
So beautiful to have you. Bye, Martha.
Thank you.
We want to thank the following people: Jennifer Maidman for original music. Listen to her on iTunes and Spotify. True English of Upstate Podcast Studio for sound and recording engineering. And all our executive producers. See you next time.